From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Now at 5:30, the first presidential debate is just a little over 24 hours away. Ahead here, why thousands of Hoosier auto workers will be listening closely to what the candidates have to say. Chris.
Topping our lineup this Monday, there's a new push to get Latina women into leadership positions. The simple thing helping them get onto this path and what you can do to help. And religious services have gone virtual during the pandemic, but that may just be the beginning, how technology could play a greater role in our faith going forward. Plus, we're seeing a lot of new COVID cases on college campuses. That is despite universities taking precautions to keep students safe. What an expert says makes it so difficult for students to follow these rules.
First at 5:30 here. Tomorrow, the presidential candidates face off for the first time in a presidential debate. And while taxes, health care, and the Supreme Court will take center stage because the debate is happening in Cleveland, the auto industry is expected to be a big issue as well. Preparations are still underway at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland to get the stage set up. And while the auto industry is big in Ohio and Michigan, Indiana also has thousands of auto workers who will be interested in hearing what the candidates have to say. Scripps reporter Joe St. George reports how the two candidates would try to get more American cars built in America.
Ohio and Michigan, two states with an intense rivalry. But if you visit, you can't help but think how much they're the same.
The atmosphere is great, the beer is great.
Here at Inside the Five Brewery near the state line, patrons from both states love the beer, respect hard work.
A lot of manufacturing and a lot of automotive.
And know Michigan and Ohio, with a combined 34 electoral college votes, will help decide this election.
I like an upfront person that's going to tell me the truth.
One big issue on the minds of Ohio voters and Michigan voters is jobs. And it's hard to talk about jobs around here without talking about the auto industry.
I am the president of UAW Local 14.
Tony Toddy represents around 6,000 auto workers in a union that's backing Joe Biden.
We like Joe because we know Joe.
Toddy believes Biden would listen to unions more, and he says the president's new trade deal, the USMCA, United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, still allows too many companies to build cars in Mexico or Canada tax-free.
It's just NAFTA 2.0. You know, where are the jobs?
But Terry Bowman,
I've worked for Ford Motor Company for 24 years.
who is co-chair of the Michigan Republican Party, says hold on a minute. While union leadership may be backing Biden, many workers on the assembly line are not, believing the new trade deal has more incentives for cars to be built here.
The American worker who deserves 4 more years of a Trump presidency.
So how do the candidates want to help the auto industry? Well, Biden wants to shift 300,000 government cars from gas to electric, believing government investments would generate 1 million new jobs. President Trump says his new USMCA trade deal will create 100,000 new jobs, and that his rollback of environmental regulations will result in cheaper cars. Back at the brewery,
I'm for Biden.
while this bar may be divided,
I want to see President Trump destroy Joe Biden in the debate.
all of them telling us they'll be watching the first debate and hoping the candidates remember the auto worker.
They are the people that run America.
At the Ohio-Michigan border, I'm Joe St. George.
ABC's coverage of the first debate begins tomorrow at 8 p.m. The main event between President Trump and Joe Biden begins at 9 o'clock right here on our WRTV. Kevin.
All right, Mark, I went above and beyond for this picture. This is my back deck. I got down on all fours, get a nice little artsy shot of some wet leaves and water on the deck. We've not had rain in most places in almost 3 weeks, and for the month, of course, it's been bone dry. From wet leaves to some breaks in the cloud cover across central Indiana. As you look to the west there a minute ago, you could see the breaks in the cloud cover, and temperatures tonight will respond to that. We're already cool, but the coolest temperatures will settle in tomorrow morning at 45 degrees. The steady rain cuts right through central Ohio. As you cross back into the great Hoosier State, we've got lots of clouds, but not much in the way of showers. What sits over Illinois will fade away as we go through the evening hours. Temperatures right around 60 degrees in the metro area. We've made a recovery from low to mid 50s during the rain, and that's what's ahead for the evening. Temperatures around 60, and then by the time we get to 11 o'clock tonight, when we'll see you back for the late news, temperatures will be in the mid 50s. We'll talk about other changes that are ahead for the week coming up.
The president's taxes will likely be the main issue during tomorrow's debate with Democratic challenger Joe Biden. New York Times releasing a report showing President Trump paid $750 in federal income taxes the year he won the election. Then when he took office, he paid another $750. The report states the president didn't pay federal income taxes 10 out of 15 years, starting in 2000. He reported losing far more money than he made.
It doesn't look like there's anything criminal in here, and he takes legal tax breaks that, as I understand it, are common to real estate investors.
And a lawyer for the Trump Organization told the New York Times most, if not all, of the facts appear to be inaccurate. Now, the president's Supreme Court nominee is meeting with senators this week. Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation hearing will be on October 12th. It'll last 3 to 4 days. Then a panel will likely vote on the nomination on October 22nd, setting up a final vote on the Senate floor by the end of the month. All right, let's start the news feed. The country's top infectious disease expert saying the U.S. is not in a good place heading into winter. Dr. Anthony Fauci is concerned about rising COVID infection and hospitalization rates in some places. Now, he is not calling for another shutdown, but he suggests keeping public health measures in place. Well, there's a pause on moving to phase 3 testing for one possible coronavirus vaccine. A U.S. health regulator wants more information before allowing Inovio Pharmaceuticals to move forward. It's not due to any side effects or issues. They want to know more about the method of how this vaccine would be administered, since it is different from others that are in development. Now, even with COVID-19, still only about a third of parents believe it's more important to get the flu shot this year. Only a third plan to have their child vaccinated, according to a national poll. Medical experts are worried about the risk of getting the flu and COVID at the same time. Another big unknown is just how COVID survivors will be affected by the flu. Well, grocery stores and food companies are already preparing for the holiday rush. There are concerns that a second wave of COVID could mean more shortages. Groceries are stockpiling turkeys and hams months before inventory planning normally starts. Wholesaler says it's also loading up on herbal tea and cold remedies. Shortages for paper towels and Clorox wipes are also expected to continue. All right, we do have more to get to in our lineup. There's a new push to get Latino women into leadership positions. How groups across the country are trying to make a change. This year, the number of women in charge of Fortune 500 companies hit a new record. Out of the 37 women on that list, none of them are Latina. Leaders around the country are working to change that. Tanya Ramos is CEO at Pencils of Promise. Group works to help 100,000 children around the world receive education. And she says that we don't see many Latinas in leadership roles, so it's important to seek out mentors.
I've had the great fortune of having remarkable mentors throughout my career, and I deem my success based on how many others, right, others like me, other Latinas that I'm also able to bring up through the ranks and make room at the table for.
Now, she recognizes that it could be intimidating to ask someone to be a mentor, but she says it is unlikely someone will say no.
If you encounter someone that you really believe could provide you with valuable advice or help you think through challenges, seek them out and ask if they would be willing to chat over the phone, grab a cup of coffee, when it's safe to do that, of course.
A survey by Catalyst, a nonprofit that supports creating workplaces for women, found more than 40% of Latinas don't have a mentor. More than a third lack networks, and less than a third don't have role models who are in the same race or ethnic group. Now, the deadline is this week to get additional stimulus payments for some families. The story topping our news feed: veterans, those on Social Security, and those getting other federal benefits who have dependents are entitled to an extra $500. They have until Wednesday to submit information to the IRS using the online non-filer tool. Social distancing has about half of U.S. small businesses worried it will continue to eat into their profits. Slightly more than half surveyed by Verizon Business believe ongoing capacity restrictions will hurt their chances of survival. There's only been a slight improvement, about 2%, in the number of businesses reporting sales dropping since April. Well, the online holiday shopping season is kicking off in a few weeks, and Amazon is hosting Prime Day sales events on October 13th and 14th. The event was postponed over the summer and turned into a pre-Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales event. Walmart also promised earlier holiday savings. Next in our lineup, virtual religious services have become the norm during this pandemic, but could they be the future as well? We are getting into the debate over the role technology should play in our faith. Many teachers go above and beyond, and this pandemic is proving that.
What's poppin'? Brand new year and I'm locked in. Far as this teaching go, I am unreachable. I'm number one in your top 10. Miss Williams, been popping. 2020 new school, you're dropping. No COVID-19, ain't worried about a thing when it come to me, ain't no stopping.
What's poppin'? Miss Evans on the beat, so tap in. You got options, but you better pass my class, no flopping. Gon' log in every day, every morning I'm watching. Yeah, we virtual and you know it's up, so we about to take it up a notch. Yeah.
Now, the two women in those music videos are both teachers at Monroe High School in Albany, Georgia. Callie Evans and Adriana Williams make videos to engage and boost student morale.
We wanted to do something innovative and creative and kind of boost the morale of our students, because some of our students lost their parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, and then some of them are even battling COVID now.
Not only does it get the students happy about school to get started, but us as well. We feel the same way that students do, nervous, not really sure what the year is going to bring.
The ladies are teaching virtual only for now. The county their school is in has a population of about 88,000. It is predominantly African American, and they've lost about 185 people to COVID. They teach history, current events, and journalism, and say that the racial justice movement has been a very hot topic for students.
It's hard, but being a teacher, I feel like our job is to remain objective. We're able to bond with our students and get a clear understanding of what they feel, not just as it relates to school or learning, but also as it relates to how they feel socially.
The teachers were recognized by Southwest Airlines and given enough points for a vacation. They do have some parting advice for anyone who's struggling right now.
To not stress, because we are all going through this pandemic together. We are all learning new things every single day.
We're empathetic because we know what's going on. So just lean on your peers during this time.
Great advice there. Well, it's a big week in the town of Speedway. Another race weekend is coming up, and for the first time this year, fans will be in attendance, and that means much needed business for Speedway businesses. Races will take place Friday and Saturday on the road course, and if you're a Simon Paginoff fan, you can show your support by wearing his new line of sportswear. He launched it exclusively at the Main Street Speedway boutique, 3 Sisters and a Trunk. The 2019 Indy 500 winners line features short and long sleeve t-shirts, hoodies, hats, stickers, and a few autographed items. The store is open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. A big weekend ahead, Kevin.
And I'd go with the long sleeve options, anything that will help keep you warmer. Thought it'd be perfect. Just look down the front straightaway at the Motor Speedway. Nothing happening on the pylon right now, but you see the flags in the stands, everything coming out of the west. It is a cool, brisk, west-northwest wind, and as we get to the weekend, temperatures will be very cool. Okay, the rain has moved out for now. Not expecting any more rain in the short term. Our temperatures, that's the story. Eastern Indiana, quite a bit cooler than western Indiana because the breaks in the cloud cover occurred first in western Indiana. The eastern portion of the state still hanging with more clouds. 57 in Columbus, 65 in Lafayette, 66 in Sullivan, Muncie at 59. 45 tonight. Skies will be partly cloudy. The wind will relax a bit as we go through the overnight. Let's look at the next 3 days. Tomorrow, 63 degrees. That will come with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. The warmest day in the entire 7-day planner occurs on Wednesday. Wednesday's high almost 70, but it will be windy. Winds will gust to almost 25 miles per hour. Thursday, more in the way of cloud cover, a slight chance for rain, especially over the northern portion of the state. Tomorrow, plan on this. Temperatures in the 60s, as you can see, lower 60s through the afternoon hours. Wednesday, mixture of clouds and sunshine, windy, and almost 70 for the afternoon high. The core of the coldest air does not arrive until the weekend. We'll have more on that coming up.
A new way to sanitize carts could be coming to supermarkets. A Tampa man invented the Arch Cart Sanitizer after being laid off at the start of the pandemic. It eliminates the need for wipes on cart handles, which studies have shown are prone to bacteria. Instead, the Arch uses an organic, FDA-approved solution to kill COVID-19. Production is set to start in a few weeks, hopefully reaching stores in November or December. Now, the pandemic has shown us just how generous people can be.
I don't think we ever thought people would be so willing to open up their homes to homeless pets.
Now that's one of the members of Human Animal Support Services. It's a group educating others on how to reduce animal euthanasia. Advocates all over North America got together and launched a massive fostering campaign when the pandemic started. The group saying it resulted in nearly half of shelter pets going into foster care in April and May, and in some places the wait list was longer than the pets needing placement.
If this moment has taught us anything, it's that we're all vulnerable. On any day, it could be any one of us that's facing losing our homes or our pets, and this is the time to really help each other.
Now, the group's also helping other shelters evolve. They want a majority of animals that come into shelters to be in foster homes within hours or days, because that frees up money to provide food and medical support to animal owners who are going through tough times.
We're finding through early research that dogs in particular are only going a couple of houses to a couple of blocks away from their house. They're really close to home most of the time. And many times, if someone can just hold an animal for a few hours, they can get it home without the stress of the shelter.
Now you can find out more about how it works on humananimalsupportservices.org. Well, the pandemic is impacting the way many people observe their faith. Usher Qureshi is looking at how technology could play an even greater role in religion in the future.
Ready or not, the intersection of machines and religion is already happening in real life. In Japan, monks at an ancient temple hear sermons from a robot avatar of the Buddhist goddess of mercy. In India, an automaton performs one of Hinduism's most sacred rituals. And in Germany, a robot gives blessings to thousands of Protestants.
You could punch in the language, for example, in which you would request a blessing.
Some are now asking whether the next step is an artificially intelligent spiritual leader, and whether counsel from AI could ever replace the guidance of a human cleric.
I think that's a really important question that we need to wrestle with, just as we're also wrestling with, the hypothetical possibility of encountering intelligent life from other planets.
But what about right now? The pandemic has forced millions around the world out of their churches, temples, synagogues, and mosques into virtual congregations.
We've been recording our sermons. We've been posting them online, Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. A lot of other Islamic centers are doing the same, trying to keep the community engaged digitally.
Teresa Berger, a professor of Catholic theology at the Yale University Divinity School, argues that whether virtually or in person, the physicality of being present remains. And rather than being disembodied, the technology actually allows more connectivity in some cases, such as using the chat feature.
In this particular digitally mediated community, people talked to each other throughout the service much more than we might do in a brick-and-mortar sanctuary.
In recent years, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has suggested the social network could address declining church attendance, offering the same sense of community traditionally found in brick-and-mortar houses of worship.
Is this about creating profit for Facebook, or is this about truly ministering to the spiritual needs of people? Trying to keep those things separate would be very difficult.
Just how exactly technology will alter manners of worship, say experts, will undoubtedly continue to evolve.
I'm sure we're going to see some dramatic transformations in the future.
I'm Usher Qureshi.
Usher, thank you. And finally in our lineup, we're seeing a lot of new COVID cases on college campuses. What an expert says makes it so difficult for students to follow the rules. Thousands of new coronavirus cases are popping up on college campuses. The New York Times counted more than 123,000 since late July, 42,000 since the start of this month. 35 colleges have reported at least 1,000 cases since the start of the pandemic. Now, although colleges have put in rules to help stop the spread of the virus, some students have chosen, let's face it, not to follow them. Instead, still gathering at parties, bars, and in dorms.
But an enormous part of going to college is the social experiences and the social awakening and the independence of moving away from home. And those two components are really inconsistent with living in quarantine.
Ben Locke is Senior Director of Counseling and Psychological Services at Penn State. He says at this stage in brain development, teenagers are more wired to take risks in lieu of social benefits. Just like adults, they're impacted by mixed messages from government officials. Younger people also don't have any prior experience with this kind of global event.
The decision that you make is not about necessarily your safety. It's about other people's safety. And the consequences of a bad decision on your part might not be known to the person next to you for 10 days. It's really easy to be lulled into thinking everything's fine.
Locke says most students that he's talked with want to make this work and are frustrated with others putting them at risk. Now, he thinks that schools can help by encouraging everyone to work together to stay on campus and punishing students who are not following the rules. New numbers show what some mental health experts have feared. Depression in adults and teens has tripled since the pandemic started.
Even people I feel like who had never faced anxiety or depression before are facing it now.
Tomorrow, one man who battles depression has some advice for all of us.
And it's certainly not time to start talking about wind chill temperatures, but cool air is the focus as we move forward. 63 the temperature right now. As we go over the next few days, temperatures will be coolest by the end of the week. We'll talk more about Friday and Saturday coming up.